Hello, everybody. This is David Bourbon from Controls Product Planning. I'm here with James DeBerry from the marketing department, and we're going to go over Kumo Connect. We're going to discuss some of the new features in it, as well as the marketing plan for this release. But first off, I wanted to talk about some Kumo Connect overview and app updates. So first, with a quick overview, this is going to be a new feature in Kumo Cloud specifically for diamond contractors. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow them to directly interact with their customers and reduce the amount of time needed to diagnose and fix their system errors. One way we're going to be doing this is there's a intuitive form for customers to report issues. And once this gets sent out to the diamond contractor, the service request form will contain the error code, site location information, and text description for the diamond contractor prior to contacting the customer. Additionally, this supports customers by linking them to their knowledge base articles to solve common issues, which can reduce nuisance calls. I'll get into that in a little bit more detail later on. And then some additional benefits is when the contractor is installing the Kumo Cloud equipment, this will allow them to automatically have their contact information added in. We no longer require the 9999 PIN code to get to the installer settings. And then we're going to be introducing Kumo coins, which is going to be exchanged at the end of every single calendar year in order to add additional diamond points to the contractor's account. So one of the biggest things that we added to this is the customer email validation. So gone are the days where someone can enter in a bogus email. They have to now have control over that email and have regular access to it. And what this is supposed to do is supposed to help with making sure that the contractor has the correct contact information for that account. So if it's someone's a legacy user, they're going to be asked to update their emails or confirm the ones that they have to connected to their Kumo Cloud account. When they first make this update and they log into Kumo Cloud, they'll see this new update and this new screen. And they do have a chance to skip this step, but every 10th time that they open up the app, they'll be requested to enter in this information and confirm their email. One thing to also note about this is we need to have a confirmed email in order to be able to connect with their contractors. So one way or another, they're going to have to confirm their email. And just to let everyone know, this is not any way different than a app on any other service would be. Like most of the other apps out there do require some kind of email verification. On the other hand, if someone's a new user, they're going to have no option to skip this step. They need to enter in their information and be able to confirm their email. This slide shows the new user email verification workflow. So what we have on here is a new user creates their account and enters in their information. So the second image on this slide is a little bit different from what you probably have been seeing in the past. So now we have a confirm email we have an email and confirm password, as well as the checkbox for green in terms and conditions. There's also a optional field down at the bottom for diamond contractor pins. I'll get into that in a little bit, but for the time being, I'll just go and skip that. Once they enter in their information, they get to account confirmation, which says that they have registered their Kumo Cloud account, but then it requires them to confirm on their email that the email that they have entered into this account is the correct email. So this will also make sure that any kind of mistyping of their email addresses is taken care of before they continue with any other steps. They go into their personal email, they click the verification button, and then they come back to the welcome screen where they put in some additional information, which is their first name, last name, and mobile number. And additionally, there's another field for adding a diamond contractor pin. As I mentioned, legacy users, they have a chance to skip this step. So as you can see in the second image on this slide, they can be asked later or they can send a confirmation. But once they do it, they'll never see these images again. And just like before, after they get done with that, we're going to ask them to enter in their first name, last name, and mobile number. Another feature that we've added to that is site details. So what this is going to be doing is it's going to be giving the contractor more information on where exactly this site is located at, making sure that it is within their service territory, and it will help them with scheduling services and other information. These site details are able to be unique for each individual site, and it's very important that they get at least the zip code correct because it populates in other forms, which I'll show later. Although it's optional for the customer, they don't need to add this in if they have a legacy site. If they do want to receive service leads or they want to be able to contact their contractor, they're going to need to enter this in there. So if they go through the help process until they have something in here, it'll keep on referring them back to this screen until they do so. And then also one other thing to mention is if the zip code changes, you're going to have a difference in available contractors that are available to service the site. And I'll get into a little bit more details on that a little bit later on in this presentation. But there's a couple different ways in order to update the site details. So during install, if you're creating a new site, the site detail screen is going to be required for that. And you'll see that it's just like the slides beforehand. But then if you have a legacy site or if you want to update an existing site information, it's pretty easy to do. If you click on the site, that you want to update this information for, in the upper right corner of the zone screen, you'll see an edit button. Select that edit button, and then on the next screen, we added in the add site details button right there. And after you select that, the site details screen shows up. Once you fill in all that information and press done, all the site details will show up underneath the site name. And then this is how to find a contractor. So what we've done as well in this new release is we had contractor information from Salesforce populated within Kumo Cloud. So now the homeowner will be able to see not only their contractor, but also where they're located at, and also have their contact information ready right in front of them. Like I mentioned before, the zip code is very important because if the zip code is not correct, a different set of diamond contractors will show up on the screen who might not necessarily be able to service their site. So that's one thing to just note about. Additionally, when they are submitting a service lead, as you see in the far right side of the screen, that information will also show on there too. One thing to note is we do have the phone number available on there. So in case if the contractor or the homeowner still wants to contact the contractor directly, they still have that process. If they press the phone number on there, it lets them call them directly on their phone. Additionally, if they have multiple sites in different zip codes or different geolocations, they do have the ability to put different contractors to service each individual site. One thing to note is if the homeowner has a non-diamond contractor contact information in their account, it will not remain in there once this app is updated to this version. So finding a contractor is pretty easy. So let's say if for whatever reason the homeowner doesn't have their contractor information in their account, they would click the settings down in the lower right hand of the screen, then select help, then select contact contractor, then select the site that they want to have a diamond contractor service, and then press that find a contractor button, and they're able to search through those screens again in order to find that contractor. And as I was alluding to before, this is the new service request screen. So as I mentioned, on here is the site information, contractor information, and the ability to call the contractor as well. Since this is a little bit bigger than the previous slide, one other aspect I'd like to mention is there is a free text area in the middle of the screen. Although this is optional, it could help with the contractor understanding what's going on with the system and give them, and if the homeowner can give them more information, it would do nothing but help them out with it. And once they fill out this information, they can request service. They receive a pop-up saying that the service request has been received. And then this service request will be going to the contractor portal for that contractor to review and be able to act upon. Just a really quick overview of the process. So if you have an issue with one of your sites, you click on there, go to the specific zone that you're having a problem with. And then after you do that, there's going to be a pop-up that is on the screen. I'll get into a little bit more information about what that Show Me How button does in a little bit, but if you press the Contact Contractor button, it'll show this contractor contact screen, and that's how you get there. So like I mentioned, I'll be talking about that Show Me How button. So we're going to be adding what we call knowledge base articles to Kumo Cloud to be able to access them in the future. There's gonna be two different kinds of knowledge base articles that are gonna be available, one for the homeowner, one for the contractor. Contractor ones are gonna be more system specific, more mechanical based, things that require you to know the equipment really well in order to be able to service. Homeowner items are, or homeowner knowledge base articles are specifically for knowledge base, or specifically for items that they can fix themselves. We're not going to let them into the equipment. We're not going to give them information about how to take something apart or replace a compressor or anything like that. This is only going to be related to MHK2 and wireless temperature and humidity sensor battery replacement, filter cleanings, and Wi-Fi signal issues. Additionally, if the customer still doesn't feel that they're comfortable with resolving it, let's say, for example, maybe a filter is 30 feet up, or there's a indoor unit that's 30 feet up in the air and in the ceiling, and they can't access it without a very large ladder, and they don't feel okay with doing it, they can still contact the contractor, and the contract service lead form will show up again. But if they are confident in doing some of this maintenance on their own, if they press the Show Me How button, it's going to bring them to the knowledge base article website, which you can see a screenshot of in the upper right. And so it just has some quick bits of information about how to do this, where to go for filter replacements and other items that can help them with diagnosing and treating these issues. The next item I want to talk about is what if there are no diamond contractors? So we understand that there's some areas where there are no diamond contractors or ductless pros. So if that happens and they're in a zip code where there isn't, we do have a pop-up for that, and we request them to contact customer support, either at that email address or at that phone number that you can see. And additionally, we have another part of the app that actually tells them how to sign up for the Diamond Contractor program. So we strongly request them to look into that and see how they can go about becoming part of the Diamond Contractor program. So what customer care will do is they'll contact the end user and work with them to find a contractor in their area, or contact the information of the installing contractor. Additionally, they'll probably be reaching out to the service team in that area in order to get assistance on who can reach out to that contractor to work with this customer. And as I mentioned before, there's a couple more screens that were updated. So this installer settings screen looks a little bit different than how it used to be. I'll get into that in a little bit more detail a little bit later on, but on here we have a interested in becoming Diamond Contractor button. So if they select that, it brings them to the Diamond Contractor program website and allows them to look into that and see how to become a Diamond Contractor. Additionally, we're working on a new contractor portal that'll be ready for use by all the Diamond contractors and Douglas pros. So in order to onboard them, sales team members will need to onboard the contractors to allow them to access this. This is done by going through Salesforce. The sales team member is going to need to make sure that the contractor is a Diamond, or need to make sure that the contractor has been selected to be a Diamond contractor. And the contractor will receive an email indicating that they can now access the contractor portal. After selecting, they're going to need to review the code of conduct, which you can see over on the right hand of the screen. And until they go through the entire code of conduct, scrolling all the way down, that accept button is going to remain gray until that happens. This is what the updated contractor portal looks like. I'm sure that a few of you have had a chance to look into this, and a few team members have mentioned or have gone through this part of the process in greater detail than I am. So I'm gonna go over it a little quickly. But this is where all of the service leads through Kumo Cloud are gonna show up, as well as the Kumo coin balance. Some additional items are linked on this page as well, which includes marketing promotional items, product documentation, different learning classes, and programs. Then if the contractor looks into the various cases, this is what one of the cases would look like. It has a bunch of different information on here in order to help them understand what is going on with the system, what was the issue with it, and as well as being able to have an article linked to that contractor knowledge base article. So that contractor knowledge base article is not publicly available. It's not something that the homeowner will be able to search for, specifically only for those diamond contractors and Douglas pros. Additionally, down at the bottom, it's not on this page, but there is a section for comments. This is where that optional field from the service request will have that information stored. Then I want to talk about Kumo coins. So Kumo coins are what we're going to be implementing in this next release. And what it's going to be used for is going to be used to allow the contractor to, one, commit to different service leads that they receive, and then also be able to incentivize them for using this program. At the end of the calendar year, these Kumo coins are going to turn into diamond points. As for the exchange rate and everything, we'll send it out once we have some more information about it. As for a process for this, each contractor is going to start out with 10,000 coins. Each lead is going to be charged 500 coins. But when they complete that case and close it out, they're going to get those 500 coins back and an additional 500 coins, so that they get an increase of 1,000 coins when they do that. Some additional things within the portal, like I was mentioning, you can check the Kumo coin balance, you can check the debit of the Kumo coins, and then also you can charge to receive those leads. James is working on a FAQ document right now for Kumo coins, and we're going to make that available at launch to answer some more questions, and it'll be a quick handout to just understand some of the various nuances with this new feature. Additionally, in the future, we're going to have some updates to it too, which includes adding a customer review. So if the contractor gets a 5-star review from a specific customer, they'll get an additional set of coins. And then additionally, we want the contractor to be able to review their experience with that customer as well. Also on the contractor portal is a support page. So this contains a bunch of team members to help the contractor out with various issues they might have with Kumo Cloud or other issues as well. And so these users can help with Salesforce updates, Kumo coin balance issues, updating service lead status, updating updating contact information, and updating the diamond contractor PIN. Contacts will change based on the contractor location. This is all pulled from Salesforce, so it'll be different for each individual user, or each user depending on which company they're associated with. And additionally, contractors may need to review who is their distributor. If it's unknown, they'll need to contact their sales rep. So now I'm going to talk about the diamond contractor PIN in Kumo Cloud and what that's used for. This page looks a little familiar, but this is where this is one of the locations where the diamond contractor PIN can be entered. So what is the diamond contractor PIN? It is a 10-pin or a 10-digit PIN number that is used in order to associate that user with a company. So that diamond contractor PIN that you see right there, that location that says enter 10 digits, that used to be the 9999 PIN code section. No longer works. If you want to enter it in there, it still won't work. What'll end up happening is it'll give you an error message saying that diamond contractor PIN needs to be 10 digits. So let's say if the user isn't a diamond contractor, they press that skip button that's below that submit button, and they're able to go on and use the installer settings within Kumo Cloud. Additionally, when they put their diamond contractor PIN in, they'll receive a notification saying that they are associated with a specific account. They can then confirm this, and anytime they create a new account in Kumo Cloud, all their contact information will be stored in there. Additionally, once they have the Diamond Contractor PIN entered, they'll no longer see this page. Once they press the installer settings button, they'll just go directly into that section of Kumo Cloud without having to enter in any PIN of any kind. So in case if the Diamond Contractor wants to reset their PIN, the way they would do that is they would need to have someone change that in Salesforce. If you go into the details tab, there's a field called phone, which you can see on the right side of the screen. Changing this information in Salesforce will update the Diamond Contractor PIN. My personal experience, the update happens fairly quickly. So if they see that it doesn't update almost automatically, send a message to that Kumo Connect email that I showed at the beginning of this presentation. All right, and then I'd like to talk a little bit more about the contractor knowledge base articles. Like I mentioned, this information is not publicly available. Contractor who has access to this will need to access Salesforce and has the ability to search for this error, or they will be able to access this directly by looking in their contractor portal and selecting the link to this error from there. One thing to note is, like I mentioned before, this information is only going to be available for Diamond contractors. Homeowners are not going to be able to access this. We don't want them tinkering with the equipment or making any changes to certain settings or doing things that they're not supposed to. So this is not something that you can search online for. So just wanted to just mention that first. But over on the right side is a quick snippet of what it'll look like. It has the information for it, has the various symptoms, has troubleshooting, and has all the information that the contractor would need to know right then and there, rather than having to pull up one of the manuals and have to search through them in order to find that error. So now I'm going to hand it over to James so he can talk about the marketing plan.
All right, thanks very much, David. I'm James DeBerry. I'm part of the Metis marketing team. For those of you that don't know me, I'm typically focused on the commercial side of the business, but I've been a part of the Kumo Connect launch team as we get ready to launch this new feature to the Kumo Cloud app. What you'll see here, I've broken out the communication and our marketing efforts by our internal audiences, how we're going to communicate it to the contractors and distributors, and then lastly, how we communicate the new information to consumers. Starting with our internal communication, we've already had several meetings with John Androsky and the sales execution team. We've also met with the product champions to talk to them about the new functionality and features within the app. We're also doing this webinar today to help continue the communication to customer care, inside sales, and the regional marketing managers. As you'll see here, some of the ideas we already have assets ready to go for the rollout of Kumo Connect. Some of the other things that you'll see here are really kind of in the ideation phase, just things that we're talking about doing. And certainly, if you have any feedback, feel free to contact me directly or to that email address that David mentioned earlier. One of the ideas was maybe there's a way to drive engagement through the ASMs, creating some kind of contest with their Diamond contractors or Douglas pros, and perhaps set up a business unit contest among all the business units, and whoever is able to add the most pins will have some kind of incentive program. So just again, just an idea that we're kind of talking about right now for our internal communications. As far as how we're going to communicate this out to the contractors, what you see here on the right side of the screen, introducing the Kumo Connect program. This is a digital banner ad that'll be seen within the contractor portal. Once you click on the Learn More button, we have this PDF that you see on the far right. That's basically a sales flyer that walks the contractor through all the new features and benefits of the new program. We'll also be sending out an airwave announcement bulletin in advance of this to let the contractors and distributors know about it beforehand, before the consumers do. And as David mentioned, we also have some instructional videos that I believe are broken out into like 11 different subject matters that are all very, very short and succinct to talk about specific features of each of the each of the new features in the program. And again, this is one of those ideas that we're still kind of talking about. One idea was to create sort of a stress ball in the shape of a Kumo cloud that perhaps we could send out to contractors en masse, and they might be able to share those with their consumers. Another idea we had was, is there a way to create like a pocket card that the contractor could pull out, and it would be just kind of a quick setup guide to walk them through setting up the pins as they're setting up the homeowner sites. And there'd also be a blank space to write the individual phone number so that they would be able to customize that for the homeowner. We're also talking about developing some email templates that we can send out to the contractors, which they can customize and send out on their own. Also, maybe a mailer that they could send out with a QR code that could link to an instructional video. So again, these are just some ideas that we're talking about on additional ways we can communicate it out to the contractor over and above what we're doing with the bulletins and the contractor portal. Similar to the contractors, we'll also want to get this information out to distributors in the same way with Airway Bulletin. We talked about doing some webinars and video geared specifically for distributors. And in addition, for distributors that have physical locations, perhaps some point of sale posters that they could put up in their branches, or perhaps pull up banners that are promoting Kumo Cloud within their locations. And then lastly, to the consumer, we've already been engaged with our base of Kumo users and sent out emails earlier this year to try to recruit them for a digital communities program. We've also sent out an email survey questions on ways that we can improve the Kumo Cloud app. And then what you see on the right here is a sample of an email campaign that we have ready to send out once we're ready to announce the new Kumo Connect program. Once we send out this announcement bulletin to consumers, we'll also start a drip campaign, which will be a series of ongoing emails to communicate out new features and benefits as we continue to do updates of the app. And then lastly, you'll see a marketing brochure. We're not exactly sure what shape that'll take yet. It might just be a PDF flyer, or might be a more involved actual brochure that we're still working on. And then lastly on the screen here is really just a summary of how we're communicating everything out to all the different audiences, the internal audience, the contractors and distributors, and then lastly to consumers. Some of these dates are still to be determined because we're going to start the communication to the contractors and distributors based on the date of the SRM. And then once the app update is available in the App Store, that's when we'll communicate that out to consumers. And one thing I did want to mention, one of the topics I did not mention earlier was we actually have worked on a new app description update, which will be more user friendly, which we'll put in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And now I'll turn it back over to David for any closing comments.
All right, thanks, James. A couple more things and we'll close out this webinar. First thing is, this is the first part of Kumo Connect. We're going to be adding new things as time goes on. We'll be updating various different features, and so look to the future for some different features. I listed out a couple more there I wanted to go over before we close out this session. One thing that we're looking into is adding warranty information within Kumo Cloud. So being able to have the information added via the app and then be able to review that warranty status in Salesforce. Additionally, we're going to be adding some updates to the contact information for the contractor. So if there's a reason that the phone number might have changed during office hours or after office hours or during holidays or emergency contact information, we want that information to be updated within the app as it pertains to each individual contractor. Additionally, we're going to have the ability for them to put company logos on there. Currently, right now, we just have a default image for all contractors. We also want to be able to provide more information for the customer's service lead status. So being able to track to see where it is. Has the contractor looked it over? Is it being sent to someone else? Is the contractor going to be calling the user about this issue? Things like that, just to give them more feedback on where their ticket is. And then, like I mentioned before, having a service review. So not only allow the customer to review the contractor for their work, but allow the contractor to review their experience with the customer. Additionally, we'd like to hear back from you all about what new features we can add to this. So please let us know. You can send it through that email at the beginning, and there's also going to be another way to do that too, which is through this QR code. So what we would like you to do is get familiar with the process. If you have Kumo Cloud, download it, update it, and play around with it. Since a lot of team members do have access to Salesforce, try and see how the different processes that I mentioned can change what the contractor sees for their account, as well as the new features that are within the app. Additionally, we'd like the process to be reviewed with Diamond contractors and the service teams who are assisting the DSGs. And like I mentioned before, this QR code over on the right side, either email or use this QR code to submit feedback. This is going to be sent to a smart sheet that the team can look over and see what else we need to have added, or what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, what is good, what needs to change, so on and so forth. So please feel free to use it. And then additionally, if you want to use this QR code in any additional presentations that you give internally or externally, please go for it. Doesn't have to necessarily be for Kumo Cloud, and can be for any other product that you might want to give feedback for. And then the very last thing is just wanted to just let everyone know about this presentation and when it will be available, and then when any additional documentations will be available. Once this presentation has been once the presentation is available, we'll send out an email indicating the location where it is, as well as various other documentations and other recordings related to Kumo Connect. Additionally, Mailing Tribe documentation will be posted online. We'll have the manuals updated, submittals updated, so on. That'll be updated right before launch, and we should have the install and technician manuals for Kumo Cloud also available on a network location. And as James was mentioning before, we're going to have a bunch of short videos that are going to cover the various functions. It's going to be one subject for each, less than 5 minutes of duration, just covering one of the new features that are within Kumo Connect. We'll have some more information about that. Some videos are going to be internally only, and others will be available on the Metis YouTube channel. So thank you very much, and let us know what you think, and have a good one. Bye.